What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back to a new review. For today we have a budget phone from LeEco and this one is called the S3 X622 and I honestly don't know where they come up with the names for these phones. So first of all, the phone is super cheap, it costs about $120 and for that price it offers amazing value and I'm not joking. So first of all, we have the same specs that we have on the Xiaomi Redmi Note 4. So basically we have the Helio X20 CPU, we have 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of internal storage and the device is running Android 6. Now we don't have that much storage and unfortunately we cannot use an SD card with this device, so we only have about 24 gigs free, so we are gonna have to do that. Like most LeEco phones, the phone looks and feels very premium. I mean, we have a back made out of metal, we have a very shiny fingerprint scanner, a big camera there, so the phone looks very good and you wouldn't say that this is a phone that costs only $120. Even though the phone is super cheap, it still feels like a phone from 2017. So first of all, we have a 5.5-inch screen with a 1080p resolution, we have a USB-C port, and we don't have a 3.5mm audio jack. And I know that some of you are gonna be disappointed about that. However, there is an adapter in the box, so you can just use the adapter if you really need to use a cable with this phone. But me personally, I prefer to use Bluetooth headphones and it's much easier to do it that way. And on top of that, we even have an IR blaster, so yeah, you could control your TV with this phone. So on the back of the phone we have some antennas at the top and at the bottom, and the portions at the top and at the bottom are also made out of plastic. We have a 16 megapixel camera, the dual tone flash and the fingerprint scanner. I don't have any complaints about the fingerprint scanner, it's accurate most of the time and much better than the last LeEco phone that I tried. And on top of that it's somewhat quick as well, so no complaints about the fingerprint scanner. As for that 16 megapixel on the back of the phone, well, considering the price of the phone, the camera is not bad at all. So first of all, the camera app looks very simple and it reminds me a lot of the app that you would find on an iPhone. So the app is very quick at focusing and overall very speedy, but we don't have that many options or settings that we would see on much more expensive devices. So for example, we don't have a manual mode, but realistically I only take pictures with the auto mode pretty much 99% of the time. The pictures taken in daylight look decent, but for a phone that has a 16 megapixel sensor, I was actually expecting a bit more detail in each picture, so the pictures look a bit washed out in my opinion. The pictures taken with the HDR mode look somewhat better, but overall nothing mind-blowing, but considering the price of the phone, I think the phone does good enough for daytime pictures. As for the pictures taken in low light, well, considering the price of the phone, I think the pictures look good enough. Again, nothing to write home about, but much better than a lot of other phones that cost way more. And we're moving to the sides of the phone. So the sides of the phone are made out of metal just like the back, so they're basically a continuation of the back. On the right hand side we're gonna find the power button and the volume keys, and of course these ones are also made out of metal. And on the other side we are gonna find the SIM card tray. So the phone can take 2 SIM cards but no SD card, as I mentioned earlier. The phone also has 4G connectivity and I was actually connected to the 4G network the entire time that I've been using the phone. And the phone also has dual band Wi-Fi but no NFC. Now the speeds over Wi-Fi and the 4G are great and pretty much decent for a phone in this price range. And moving to the bottom of the phone, there we have the speaker and the microphone. The speaker doesn't sound bad at all considering the price of the phone, but here is a quick sample of how the speaker sounds.
Never stop the way. Birds jumping and I hear my name. Grasping into life. Life is happy but it's so insane.
Aside from that, the phone supports OTG and we also have fast charging, so charging the device from 0 to 100 is done in just under 2 hours, so pretty decent. With the Helio X20 we get decent performance and the scores that I got on the Antutu benchmark and the Geekbench 4 will definitely confirm that, but what we don't get is power efficiency. So the 3000 mAh battery that we have inside this phone, well, we are gonna make it through an entire day and get about 3 hours of screen on time, but realistically we don't get the best battery life out of this phone. So if you game a lot, you may end up having to charge the phone twice throughout the day, and I know that's not the greatest thing, but that's always been the case with the Helio X20 CPU. Now on the front of the phone we have a 5.5-inch screen, but aside from that we have big bezels all around the screen, and yeah, they don't look good if you have light wallpaper, so definitely not my favorite thing about this phone. We also have an LED notification light, we have the speaker, a couple of sensors and an 8 megapixel front-facing camera. Now, like most cheaper phones, the front-facing camera doesn't take the most amazing pictures. I mean, if you have plenty of light, the pictures look okay, but as soon as it gets dark, well, the pictures don't look good at all. And of course, the pictures that you've just seen or taken with this device. The screen has decent looking colors, the viewing angles are pretty good, but unfortunately it doesn't get that bright, so whenever you're outside there is like a lot of glare reflection and it's kind of difficult to actually see the screen. Aside from that, the sensitivity is quite good, so whenever you're typing or playing games there are no issues, and the screen is also covered by some type of scratch resistant glass. And lastly, all the way at the bottom, you're gonna find the navigation buttons. Unfortunately, you cannot move those around, but they do light up, so at nighttime you're gonna be able to see them without any issues. And moving on to the GPS unit inside this phone, well, it's decent, but not the best that I've seen. So first time you're gonna actually use the phone, it takes like 3-4 minutes to find your location. So only the first time. After that, it finds your location within a few seconds. So always keep that in mind. After you restart the phone, it may take a while to find your location. As for sensors, well, we have all the sensors that you'd find in a flagship device, and that includes a gyroscope, and all the sensors that I tried there seem to work good as well. Considering that the phone is using the Helio X20 CPU, and that's a pretty powerful CPU, I was actually expecting that the phone would perform much better. However, it doesn't do that well, and I'm pretty sure that has to do with the software optimization, because most LeEco phones use this heavy skin on top of the Android version they use, and that slows the phones right down. So using Chrome, for example, the phone is not that fluid, and if you remember the Xiaomi Redmi Note 4, well, that one was quite fast, so not the same with this one. For gaming, the same thing, so you can play a whole bunch of games, pretty much all the games available in the Play Store, but you're gonna see some skipped frames here and there. So not the best experience from that Helio X20 CPU with this device. Multitasking is also decent, but you're somewhat limited by the RAM that we have in this device. Now, unfortunately, that heavy skin that LeEco is using on top of Android, it's using about 1.5 gigs of RAM at all times. So pretty much all the problems that we get for this phone, performance-wise, are coming from the operating system, so the user interface that LeEco is using. So I believe that if they would use something closer to stock Android instead of that horrible skin that they're using, the phone would perform much better, because we've seen a lot of phones from China, the Helio X20, and they all did very good. But that's not the case with this, and as I said before, it's because of the operating system, because it's very heavy. The settings app, it's not horrible, but once again it's done in that LeEco way to like change everything from what it's supposed to be, so it's gonna take you a while to get used to the settings app and finding what you're actually looking for. And it's time to conclude this video. So I love the way the phone looks and feels. So basically the hardware, it's great, but then on top of that we have that horrible LeEco user interface, and that's basically the main reason why I dislike the phone, the user interface. If they would use something closer to stock Android, this phone would have been much better. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, press that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.